This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time.
He's
Off
got
the
him.
left side. Dobbs is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Good morning. Welcome to Ken and Ken in the morning. Of course, I've got Ken with me, and I'm Ken. That makes us, Ken and Ken. Imagine that. So, Ken, some big news coming out of the NFL this morning. Supposedly, the Detroit Lions are shopping Jared Goff.
You know, they might be able to get a cheeseburger for him.
I mean, they always do have a hooker back there they can use. Oh, wait, no, they've soured on Hendon Hooker, the other future. I mean, I get it. They're starting to see in Motown that Goff is not the guy. Maybe they watched our show last week and realized that there are 15 to 20 guys better than him.
Yeah, usually Detroit takes Detroit a while to catch up with the rest of the league, as we've seen how long it took them to win the division. So
the question is, what do you think they're going to get for him?
a cheeseburger, a flat soda, and half of a squirrel.
I mean, look, you figure Debo went for a fifth rounder. I don't know, maybe a third rounder.
I mean, you might be able to get that, but as we see, it's very Goff's success depends massively on surrounding him with a whole bunch of everybody.
And Mitch is not happy. Lions would trade him for 3 firsts and a third. Wow. The hopium is strong with Mitch this morning. 3 firsts? No. You might get a third, maybe a third, and then like a fifth the following year. I mean, Nicholas says, good morning, Ken and Mr. Delusional. He's a Detroiter, and he knows that, hey, no. So, yeah, Detroit shopping Jared Goff this morning. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, look, if you put pressure on the guy, he folds like a deck of a house of cards. Like Mitch at the casino playing bets and placing bets in Vegas. My God, Vegas must love Mitch. They must make money off it. And the question's gonna be, who are the suitors? Like, what team really wants Goff that bad? Ooh, Cleveland. They like bad quarterbacks. I'm not gonna say he's a bad quarterback. He just can't win. He can't win the big game. I mean, yeah, he's a good system quarterback. If you give him protection, you can deliver the ball. Oh, wait a minute. Any quarterback can do that in the NFL. I'm sorry. Look at all the quarterbacks who like were terrible, but you put them in the system with protection, and all of a sudden they were good. Like I don't know, Brad Johnson.
I was just thinking of Brad Johnson.
Mitch, I don't know what they're going to do there if they do move him. I don't blame them for wanting to get out of that bad contract they signed. They know that they can't compete anymore. The window's closing. No one's happier about this than John Dorn.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's almost like John Dorn is speaking things into fruition with Fool's Gold Lions.
I'm telling you. Now, Mitch, I do have some good news for you. If you look down at your calendar, you'll see that today is April 1st, which makes it what? Detroit Lions Fool's Day? Yeah. They're not shopping golf. I'm messing with you for April Fools, but I had you going there for a second. Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, but that's only because nobody wanted to take them.
Yeah, hold on. Hey, Broski, they're trading golf.
Oh man, what are they trading for? Like half a bag of Doritos and a stick of gum? Like what's going on here?
You have no idea how great that is, Broski, because I sat there, it made the same thing.
We were playing a little April Fool's joke on Mitch, and he was getting mad because, bad opinions, proving us wrong. He didn't prove us wrong yesterday. Mitch, you weren't even here yesterday.
No, he was on the afternoon show.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we were trying to get Mitch to name his top 5 quarterbacks, and he couldn't do it. So I don't know. I think Mitch is just going next level troll right now.
And conveniently, that all his talk about numbers and that, once it was brought up career passer rating, where Goff ranks 12, radio silence on that part.
Yeah, and you see the names ahead of them. A lot of them are quarterbacks who are kind of never won anything, So it's, I mean, it only says so much what your stats are. Like I said, I still think Dak Prescott is the best comparison for Goff.
They both put up great regular season numbers. Haven't gotten.
Yeah, and Dak's 2-5 in the playoffs. Goff is 5-5 in the playoffs. So I mean, they're very close in regular season stats and postseason numbers.
I would say Dak though has to create more of his offense than Goff does. I mean, you're right, stat wise, because that's all Mitch cares about stats.
Yeah.
But stat wise, close. But like if I had to pick one to do a fourth quarter drive, I'd probably Dak's just going to throw an interception. Oh, Goff's going to throw an interception. They're both going to throw an interception. At least Dak's going to make it look more interesting. I mean, good morning, Brent. Look at the quarterback conversation in this league is so subjective. And I get where Mitch is coming from saying, well, stats, because I get it. Once again, Justin Fields, last year before the draft, there was good justification to keep him based on the stats. Kid had improved in every stat category every year, blah, blah, blah. He kept showing improvement. He kept growing, blah, blah, blah. It was all true. And he had some really good under pressure numbers that we saw number-wise, great numbers. But then you should see Caleb, and you're like, okay, there's a difference here, right? Like incompetency, I don't know. Maybe you want to call it that, but definitely in taking care of the football. But stats aren't the end all. They can't be the end all. And look, there's other factors, right? How good your offensive line is, how good your offensive coordinator is. Do you have good receivers? Do you have good tight ends, running backs, blah, 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 blah. And right now, Goff has had a lot of good things around him. Now, we stripped away his OC. Mitch is like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. We hired from within. There's going to be no change. There will be a change because the new OC isn't going to design new plays like Ben did. He's not going to call plays like Ben did. The situational stuff is going to be different. It'll be interesting to see what Goff does this year. And that offensive line isn't as good as it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's a true story. I mean, and the guy, the Morton dude that they hired, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he's been a coach in the NFL for like 20 years or 25 years, and he's never been a offensive coordinator before. So that's kind of amazing unto itself that you've been in the league that long and you've never even been a coordinator. So I don't know if that really says anything, but it could.
I speak Dorn's name and he shows up. It's wonderful. It's like Beetlejuice, but Dorn. Thank God can't handle any more shit wide receiver throwing passes yet. You're probably gonna. Well, I don't know if we'll see it again. That was a trick play. They run them every so often. I mean, but Mitch. Oh Jesus. All right, Bros, he said he has been a coordinator somewhere. I don't know where.
I'm still waiting for Mitch to list his top 5 quarterbacks.
I mean,
come on, Mitch. Come on, Mitchy Poo. Don't let me down.
He wants Skipper throwing the ball. Look, like no one's saying Goff is a horrendously bad quarterback or anything. It's just most people wouldn't take him. Like he's a good system quarterback in a good system that fits him. There was a reason the Rams got rid of him.
I mean, yeah, Goff is absolutely a good quarterback. Not denying that at all. But to say he's top 3 is insanity.
Oh, it's insanity.
I would personally give Goff top 10. To being realistic, I put him in there. But that's as far as you're getting out of me.
Yeah, and like yesterday, like I reeled off my top 10 pretty quick, and Goff isn't in it for me. He's going to fall 12 through 15 for me, but I'm not even not knocking him. Like I actually respect Goff because he doesn't have the greatest physical gifts. However, he's still a heck of a good quarterback, and I respect that. To tell you the truth,
you know what he is? He's Kyle Orton plus.
Well, that's a good. Good line.
Yeah, I mean, because like Orton was a great game manager. He didn't have a lot of skills, but he like if you could put Kyle Orton in that Lions offense, and he'd do the same thing.
I mean, so I was saying before, like Brad Johnson, but I think Brad Johnson had a better arm than Goff. But Kyle Orton plus, Ken, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Weird, man.
That's pretty good.
I mean, that dude is a rookie, won 10 games, didn't even get any votes for rookie of the year, and he took the Bears to the playoffs. And then, Rex is back for the playoffs. Oh, okay. Rex, you're in. Kyle, thank you for the 10 wins and getting us here, your bench. Look, we're one and done. I mean, Orton was a good system quarterback. He had a good long career in the NFL. He never got with a team that was able to provide him the success that Goff did. But had he done that, I think he would have done just as well. I think though the difference with Orton is he turned the ball over a little bit less than Goff. He didn't give up the big interception. He was a little bit better under pressure, but Goff, like that's the rub on Goff, right? I think that's more why we're having this conversation more than anything. Goff, when under pressure, is a turnover machine like Dak Prescott is. There are other quarterbacks when they're under pressure, they do better. Justin Fields is one of those guys. Like under pressure, he does better. He throws less interceptions, less wonky balls. Like, probably mostly because he just takes off and runs. But still,
that's why I'd use Tom Brady for that one.
Great, but I'm just saying though, if Justin Fields is better than you under pressure, and we don't think he's a top 10 guy or a top 15 guy or a top 20 guy right now, Fields, then how can you make Goff one? Goff is a great system quarterback who does well in a designed offense. When he has to create or is under pressure, he just doesn't have it. And look, there's going to come a time in Detroit. There's going to become a time in Detroit. It could be after this season when they have an out in the contract where there's already been members of this fan base who wanted Goff gone since day one. And then when Hendon Hooker was drafted, there was a large part of that fan base who wanted Hendon Hooker as a starter right away. So it's not like Goff has been universally loved in Detroit, and I think some of that was wrong. I think he earned some juice there. But, like, there will be a big section of that fan base, if they don't win it this year, who's going to want Goff and that contract out of there, because the fans who know he's just a good system quarterback and nothing but.
Yeah, and Goff's, he turns the ball over. He had too many turnovers, too many picks last season.
I know a perfect guest for the afternoon show that's a Lions fan that'll love to debate you on that, Motown.
I mean, okay. Oh, but his TD to interception ratio for the season was great. Okay, but then break it down to when he's under pressure and look at that same number, and it's horrendous. Yeah, great. When he's protected, has all day, can do his taxes, order a pizza, and swipe right on a Tinder a few times before he has to throw the ball. Sure, he completes it. It looks great. But you put pass rushers in his face, make him move, hit him, touch him, 5 interceptions in a game, 6 interceptions in a game. I mean, that's the problem, Mitch. It's like you got to look at you're looking at the numbers as if, okay, the numbers tell the story. They don't tell the story. They give you part of it. Now you need Paul Harvey to give you the rest of the story. If you're old enough to remember, you're old enough to remember Paul Harvey. I mean, the numbers won't lie, but they don't tell you the truth either, Mitch.
So if the numbers don't lie there, Mitch, does that mean Aaron Rodgers is one of the absolute best quarterbacks to ever throw a pigskin and debatable for number one? Because his numbers kind of say that.
Well, he was 12th ranked O-line last year, right? Okay, great. They got the 12th ranked O-line, but then the games where they weren't as good, because there are some games they played better than others, and pressure was getting to your boy. What'd your boy do? He was like a cheap hooker on a busy Friday.
Yeah, it's excuses. Like, let's see Goff get it done in the playoffs for once,
They have an out in Detroit at the end of this season. What do you guys think if let's say Detroit goes one and done in the playoffs, or God forbid misses the playoffs this year? Let's say one of those two scenarios happen. So remember, Mitch, this is a hypothetical. If one of those two situations happen, Ken, do you think they move on from Goff at the end of the year?
With the cap number he's going to have of like 69 point something million, that don't look too good for his future. If he restructures, they could keep him, but either way, I think you're starting the succession plan at that point.
Yeah, what do you think, Broski? The hypothetical here is they don't make the playoffs, or they go one and done. They have an out in the contract this year. And remember, that was a selling point that a lot of Lions fans made when they signed the contract. They said, well, not to worry. JB's like, they've got an out 2 years. So, do they take the out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. They're going to run with Goff. And part of the reason is because they swung and missed on Hendon let the hose go Hooker. Like they don't have confidence at Hooker's like the next in line after Goff. So until they have that next guy who can, step in and take over, they're running with Goff.
So you're going with Mitch, or Mitch is saying they'll just, because obviously you didn't get the point where it's that this is a hypothetical. Maybe you did. But you're saying they're going to they'll stick with them and they'll restructure so they don't take a $69 million cap hit on them next year.
Yeah, and I think absolutely. That's what I think. I also think they're going to be looking possibly to draft a wide receiver in the first round this year. My thoughts on this are, I'm not sure they're sold on Jameson Williams either. So I'm not sure they're going to be willing to pay him or even franchise him when it comes time and pay him that much. So this is a huge year for Jameson Williams also. I like I said, Amon Ra's not getting any younger either. Jameson Williams, been in the league 3 years. He had one season. He literally had like 1,000 yards last year for the first time, and he had like 1,000. He had like 1,001 yards or something like that, and like I think it was like 58 receptions. So you expect a little more out of your 12th overall pick. I feel in his third season, but like I said, a lot of his future with the Lions is going to hinge on this season as well.
Well, with JMO, last year was make or break, and he made good on it because the first 2 years was, JMO's going to be so good, and he wasn't. And last year he actually lived up to some of the potential that fans hyped. And yeah, it's once again, now can he do it 2 years in a row, whether they stay with him or not. I think right now the fifth-year option might be cheaper for him, right? And we'll find out June 1st, right? It's cheaper for them to do the 5th year. And Brent says, look, Brad already said they're doing the 5th year. The 5th year probably won't be guaranteed. The option is not guaranteed, so they can pick it up and cut him at the end of the year. But I think for JMO, it's still like, okay, he might give him to pick up the 5th-year option, but he might not get the extension until at the end of the season. He might not get a new contract because the first 2 years sucked. Last year was pretty good. Let's 5th-year option isn't going to cost them much. It's not going to be guaranteed really, and that's probably a smart move for them with JMO.
Yeah, I definitely take the 5th-year option on him from what he showed last year to see where the hell it goes. I wouldn't be offering him a long extension right off the bat, but yeah, the 5th-year option, absolutely.
So, I mean, but then they're going to have to restructure Goff. I wouldn't be surprised though, Broski. Like, I agree with you. They might look at a receiver earlier in the draft. I think don't be surprised if they take a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round.
I've been saying that too. Like, they're not going to take a quarterback in the 1st round, but any round after that, they probably will.
Then again, I don't know. Like, they might, if they would say they like Dart, and we're at the end of the first. They're at the end of the 1st round, and let's say Dart's there, and they feel that if we wait, a team like the Raiders might snatch him up earlier in the 2nd. I could see them possibly taking a quarterback, a la Jordan Love, at the end of the 1st round, and then let him sit behind Goff for at least this year and probably the year after if they restructure. But if Goff fits the bed or they miss the playoffs, they also give him a good excuse to then cut ties with Goff in that out they've got of this contract and go with whoever they were to draft this year in the 2nd round. So that's what I'm saying with Goff. I don't know if they would actually restructure. If it depends on what they do in the draft. We'll find out here, obviously, in a couple weeks here, a little less than a month. If they took a quarterback in the 2nd round, I think that it would have to be a consideration of the plan. Like, if Goff is terrible, we're just going to cut sling load with our out and go with the guy we draft this year in the 2nd round because he'll have had a full year behind Goff to learn the system, learn the NFL, learn the scheme, maybe even get some game time without pressure, right, of being the guy who has to take over right now, and go from there.
I mean, I could only imagine Lions fans' reactions to that. That would be hilarious. I wonder if they would turn on Goff then, like how they turned on Ben Johnson.
The same way they turned on Stafford.
Yeah, and also, like, what if they traded up for Shador or something like that in the draft? That would be amazing.
This is now my facial expression whenever you guys make a dumbass take.
Whoa.
Sarah coming in with the heat this morning, firing on all cylinders. That's okay. I got something for Sarah. Hold on a second.
Sarah got a lot younger, it looks like. And, not sure what happened there.
No, I love this kid's smirk. It's funny as hell. When people make a dumb comment, I just post the smirk up.
Was it like an April, Fool's thing or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured I'd change it up today. I've been seeing all over Vikings Twitter, Aaron Rodgers has signed a 1-year deal. I'm like,
Yeah, I've already seen that, and I've been seeing a bunch of oh, it's a 2-year deal, this, that, and the other. Like, come on already. We got Aaron Rodgers right now throwing with DK Metcalf on his own time. So to me, that kind of puts the writing on the wall that it's going to be the Steelers. I don't see Rodgers going out there and just throwing to somebody for the hell of it.
Yeah, but he won't sign the contract, so it's just irritating everybody.
A-Dub.
So how do you guys feel that the tush push didn't get banned?
It got tabled till a later date because of both sides arguing so vehemently about whether their side's right or not. So I think it's still kind of in the air.
Isn't that funny that they want to ban a football play because one team just happened to be so super successful at it for so many years and made everyone look silly because they couldn't stop it. Yet when they tried to do it, they couldn't get it to work. I mean, to me, that's just like the ultimate pettiness. Like, well, you guys were, perfected this play so well that it's unstoppable. We need to ban it. Why? Well, because when we try it, we can't do it.
That's not what they're arguing. They're arguing for the fairness across the board. Since you can't do that on defense or special teams, that you shouldn't be allowed to do it on offense.
I'm glad the Lions' proposal that what was it? Illegal contact and defensive holding. I'm glad that one got shut down. It's like, who's that corner they drafted? Arnold, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Arnold can't continue to hold. Cry more.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. If that got banned or if that got implemented there, we'd see a lot of the old school type of cornerback play where you were seeing receivers get mugged all the way down the field.
Well, and then they were talking about changing the dynamic kickoff again. Last year, I think we saw we saw maybe an uptick in returns, but the yardage was about the same as if you just kicked it through the end zone. So teams just started kicking it through the end zones again. I said, fine, take it 30, whatever. Look at just go back to old school Devin Hester days, man. Or even move it back further. I don't know. I don't know why they keep wanting. Well, we want more returns. Well, but then we don't want returns since guys can get hurt. Well, make up your freaking mind. It's either you want it or you don't. Fans like it. The only thing I liked about the dynamic kickoff is okay. Now the guy doesn't have 60 yards of speed to hit you with, right? Like, okay, I like that aspect, but you know what? Maybe you can, keep the way they line up, but make the kicker go back 10 more yards.
And I didn't like that proposal about how seeding should be done by record-wise and not division. I'm like, that's the whole point of having divisions. Win your division and you have no problem. If you get rid of divisions, it erases like all the rivals and history behind the divisions. I don't like that.
Proceeding like going, it should be on record, not the way it's done now. It's like, well, so if you're like, I don't know, the NFC South, you win your division, now you don't get a home game. That's part of the prize of winning your division is you're guaranteed a home game. Now you take that away. That I'm sorry, and people are going to say, that's the Vikings were crying because they won 14 games and they get no.
But we weren't the ones crying. We didn't bring up that proposal. Detroit did.
Huck, I'm probably mad that they ended up having to face Washington.
Yeah, I think honestly, after all this past season, I think the Lions should consider changing their name to the Cryans. And, change their logo to like a bucket of Dan Campbell's tears. They're such victims anymore. The Lions are such victims. I can't stand this.
The Vikings, though, they could have said, hey, we won 14 games and we're forced to play a road game. And yeah, we would get behind this. But the fact of the matter is that they get it. Like, part of the thing is, if you win your division, that's part of your reward. You get a home game for being a division winner. Honestly, look, we could go like soccer, right? Let's go like the Premiership or the Bundesliga or La Liga and say, we don't need conferences and divisions. The table is the table, and the top 8 go, right? And just go like that. And so you just have the AFC and the NFC, no divisions, just 2 conferences. The top, 7 or 8 teams, they go to the playoffs, and it's record based. At that point, if they were to change that rule, you might as well do it. In fact, while we're at it, let's add relegation to the mix. So if you win 3 games, you're the worst team in your division, you get relegated to the XFL, USFL, whatever the hell they're calling it these days, and the champion of that league gets to come up. Why not? Seeing as we're being crazy, Detroit fans. I mean, that they might, you know what I'm saying? They might as well go that route. Maybe not the relegation piece. That'll never work in the United States. But maybe
even our coach was asked about that, and he was against it. So it wasn't us crying about it.
Thank you, Steve.
I was going to say, the funny thing is, Steve, is that picture does kind of look like how I looked when I was a kid.
Well, that picture looks like it was taken in the 70s almost, so, it could be. Yeah. But
yeah, I'm definitely not that much of a dinosaur.
Yeah, I think Lions fans need to get it straight in their own minds. Like, I noticed this last offseason, they're so big on offseason accolades and preseason predictions and awards, and we have this many players in the top 100, and we have, blah blah blah, and so and so was voted the best defensive lineman by this magazine, and that's great, guys. Like, the goal is to win a Super Bowl. So until you at least get to a Super Bowl, just hold back your tears, please.
Hey, you know what? Mitch likes stats, right? I got the best stat for Mitch. It's undeniable. The Detroit Lions are the only non-expansion team in the NFL to never go to a Super Bowl.
And speaking of all these Super Bowls, we got this one for you.
Hey, I created that image. But yeah, I created that one in Grok.
Oh yeah, I see the Grok down at the bottom.
I created that. Yeah, I mean, you know what though? Like, he has a better chance, I think, than Detroit does in some ways of winning one in his career than Goff does. I will see how that rolls, but I mean, you want to talk about great stats? There's a stat: the Lions have never been to a Super Bowl.
Aren't they like one of the oldest teams in the NFL too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's the Packers, the Cardinals,
to multiple Super Bowls. Unlike the Lions, who've been to none, and the Bears actually have a Lombardi. Whereas the Lions, well, they haven't even gotten to see what it looks. They get to see what it looks like on TV or when they visit Green Bay or Chicago.
It's such a sad story, Mitch. Such a sad story.
I win the Super Bowl all the time when I play Madden.
You should see my trophy. Love that.
You should see my trophy case in Madden.
We win all the games. Yeah, that's the other thing that goes along with Broski. They win lots of Super Bowls in Madden.
I think Green Bay's pretty close to Super Bowl, seeing as how there's 4 in the case, but
like last year they weren't. They weren't closer
than the Vikings.
They were all one and done.
Oh no, yeah. The Vikings did go out a week earlier, so we'll give it to them with the bye week. Playing catch up would be trying to win your first Lombardi.
Yeah, you're the one playing catch up, bud. Sorry
it took you 30 years to win 2 division titles, but we're playing catch up.
I mean, they went 30 years between playoff wins, and they didn't win a playoff game last year, so they're starting their new streak. You know what I mean? Right now,
ancient history. Oh, that's how we're talking to Alliance fans. We got to put the blinders on, and we can only look at right here. That's it. Nothing else matters. because we were absolute dog shit before that. But don't mention that.
I tried to convince Vikings fans yesterday that Motown Mitch convinced me for us to trade away JJ McCarthy and a first round pick to get Goff, and they all kicked me out of the chat.
Real quick, Nicholas brings up a great point about, hey, if you're on X, you can comment in X. We'd love to see your comments from X as well, because we're getting some great ones from YouTube and Facebook as well. But
we can talk to President how each one of us from the division that made the playoffs lost in their first game. I don't know. That seems pretty equal.
Yeah, one and done. The whole division that went. I mean, that was
at least the Packers and the Vikings didn't get their ass kicked by a rookie.
Oof.
That's a true story.
Man, how would you get by with doing that? You can't trade a top 3 quarterback for a rookie that's never started a game. Hey,
our team's got
kicked. I'll give you that one.
At least our teams got kicked by Super Bowl winning quarterbacks.
Believe me there, Mitch, I've been on the same type of hill as you before, so...
Look, I mean, you gotta feel like for Detroit fans, like all the stuff that we've thrown in, that's the reason why they are like they are. After years and years of being the play toy, the can that got kicked down the road, they finally did something, and then they choked it away in San Francisco. And Dan Campbell said it right: we may never get back, because he understood, he realized that was probably the best quote he's ever given, because it was the realest quote he's ever given, and it's true for all NFL teams. Getting here is hard. We may never see this again. And that was a great take by him, right? But for Lions fans, they can't believe that. They got to believe, like, after all these years of just being the worst freaking team in football for the most part, or the biggest laughingstock, maybe outside of Cleveland.
I were going to say, give Cleveland their credit.
Cleveland their props too, right? Because at least they didn't have to have beer machines that were locked until they won a game. But I mean, I get where Lions fans are at. So now here we come saying, like, Goff's not that good. Goff has delivered us from obscurity and getting our, being kicked on all day. I get why he defends them, but then when you objectively try to look at, like, I could throw Justin Fields in that offense and he would be just as good, if not better than Goff, because at least he's mobile, whereas Goff is not. I could throw Dak in there and get the same thing. I could throw Cousins in there and get the same thing. I could throw almost any quarterback in the league in that system, and they're going to be successful.
Man, I'll give you all that, but Fields, because of Fields,
Fields has a better.
The short passing isn't the greatest, and that's what a lot of the Lions' offense is built on. So I don't think he could get it done with that.
No, if he had the same protection, and if he had the same protection where it's clean pocket to throw those, all these guys in the NFL can do it. The problem with Fields is they're under pressure. He's not good at football, whatever. And look at some of those plays people point to were designed plays where the ball where they're supposed to be, but the tight end or receiver got held up and wasn't there. I mean, you could see it in tape. But that's what I'm saying. Even Fields could do it.
No, I'm with Ken. I'll agree with you all, but Fields.
Yeah, Fields, Ken, I'm sorry, man. Fields is not good under pressure. Fields is trash, dude.
No, see, this is where you three need to take a step back and understand every guy in the NFL is a quarterback. If given
no.
I know.
No.
We are not taking a step back from this because we've seen Fields play and he's not.
Oh, but look at the
Fields is like a deer in the headlights under pressure. Fields can't comprehend.
Against Tampa Bay, where the interception at the 3-yard line. Yeah, where he threw a blind pass to a position on the field where the guy was supposed to be and the guy wasn't. Oh, but that shows he can't throw. No, that showed he put the ball where it was supposed to be and his receiver wasn't there. You give any of these quarterbacks the protection they're supposed to have with receivers are at the place where they're supposed to be. I don't care. Any one of these quarterbacks in the NFL will complete the passes given the proper protection. May it be Fields, may it be Tua, may it be whoever. The argument for Fields, and this is where I say rightfully so, when he's under pressure, right, isn't the best at the medium to short range stuff, right? He gets wonky. He's really good at under pressure with the long ball. At the short to medium under pressure, he sucks. But if you give any of these guys the protection where he doesn't the guy in his face, every quarterback in this league completes those passes. That's what Goff gets in Detroit. You give that to Fields, and then, by the way, if he does have that, unlike Goff, Fields will just take off and run for 60 yards and get a touchdown. That's why I'd say Fields would do better than Goff did.
No.
Nah. Nah. Not this lifetime. But Fields can't read protections. He can't read defenses. He can't read protections. Fields can't learn from his mistakes. Like, I mean, Fields, he's gonna have to move on with his life's work pretty soon. But hey, he'll be the bridge quarterback for the Jets for 2 years.
I mean, look at neither can Goff, but the difference is, at least with Fields, he'll take off and bust out a 60.
I mean, but Ken, you got to understand, Goff threw for in this, I'm not Motown Mitching it up here, but I mean, Goff has thrown for over 4,000 yards like many times. Fields has never thrown for 2,600 yards in a season. So I can't say Fields could do anything well as a quarterback. He's never thrown for 2,600 yards in a season. That's sad. That's sad.
But
I don't even know if I can consider him a quarterback, honestly.
I don't know if I would label Mahomes as fast.
He's not good.
He can move around enough to get shit done, and he can go at crazy body angles to make passes.
Yeah, he can create. He's crafty. Mike does it best. He's crafty.
Yep.
He can create, and he can, and he runs effectively when he does run. And that's like something I'd want to see out of Goff. Goff.
I honestly am perfectly okay with Goff not being that mobile. I'd much rather have my quarterback out there looking to make the throws, and even when it gets into crunch time like that, the only kind of scrambling I want my quarterback really to do is to scramble to get away from the sack and then throw the ball. But that's my personal philosophy on quarterbacks.
No, I agree with that. Like, I could care less if a quarterback can run for yards or anything like that. He needs to be a good quarterback first. Like, that's what Brady could do. Brady could feel the pressure. He could take, 4 steps to the left, 4 steps to the right, 4 steps back, 4 steps up. Really well.
I don't want a quarterback who is a running back. I want a pocket passer who can scramble when he needs to avoid sacks. I don't want a running back as my quarterback.
So, okay, before I get to some of these long ones here, that's why I like Caleb over. Yeah, look at that last one. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, no.
That's why I like Caleb over Fields, because Caleb can run, he can scramble, but he's still looking to throw the ball. Now, as a fan, we liked last year. It's okay, he's still looking to put the ball downfield. It's not about how fast he can run. It feels, Goff doesn't run at all. Really, but it's like Mahomes, when he does it right, and he can scramble enough in his craftiness. When I look at Caleb, Caleb could run, but he doesn't. He scrambles to look downfield. I think there are times where maybe Caleb should have ran, but he didn't. But the thing I like about him is he's looking to move the ball downfield with his arm, not his leg. And you need to be able to scramble to do that. So when the play gets busted, you at least give your team a chance, or yourself the opportunity to throw the ball away. And that's something Caleb sucked at the beginning of the year, but got better at as the year went on.
That's why I like Caleb Williams more than I do Fields. Because to me, Caleb has a decent amount of room to grow still, but he's at least showing that he has the basis of a quarterback. Where Fields, it kind of felt like he was being shoehorned into being a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see what happens with him with the Jets. I don't know. Maybe all of a sudden he has a Geno Smith type year, turns the corner. I mean, he's got the skill set.
Ken, I would give you that argument on any other team in the world. But since it's with the Jets, I don't think anybody's he'll have a Geno Smith type of thing with the Jets, except it's going to be Jet Geno.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, you almost feel bad for the kid because you see so much potential there. He just has been in. And then, you would thought the Steelers situation would have been great for him, but we're gonna go with Russ, even though you're 4-2, and he showed improvement with the Steelers even, and that's where I feel bad for this kid because every time he goes out there, he improves his game. whether it be marginally or a lot, it doesn't matter. He improves his game, and every time, like, yeah, whatever. I mean, eventually,
but you got to take into consideration, like, the Steelers would have re-signed him in a heartbeat if they saw what they needed to see in him in order to keep him, and they didn't. So it's like,
well, that's like what I was going to say, though, Broski, was eventually, if he sticks with it, maybe he'll get to that situation, that team, where that coalesces. And it wasn't with the Steelers because they don't have the, I don't want to say the time, maybe that might be the way, because I think their staff is feeling the hot seat a little bit the last couple of years, and they need to be like, okay, then we need a guy who's going to take us there right now. So we don't have the time to work on field for a year or two to get them there. But like the Jets are like, well, fuck, what do we got to lose? We got the time.
Well, or maybe some of these players should swallow their pride and go the Sam Darnold route, take a year off to go be a backup and really learn how to be a quarterback, and then take your next opportunity. Because if you just want to start, but you kind of suck and you don't know how to quarterback, you're going to end up on the bench again. And so I think what Sam Darnold did was really smart of him. Is like, hey, I need to reset. I went to bad organizations. I'm going to swallow my pride and be a backup to a good organization and see how being a quarterback, what it's like. And after that, he got his opportunity to come to Minnesota, and look what he could do with a team that had talent around him. He showed that he could play. And sometimes
that's the ironic part, isn't it, though, Sarah, about Justin? Because he just did that with a good coaching staff in Pittsburgh. Now, look, at Pittsburgh's coaching staff isn't known for developing quarterbacks either. Let's get that straight. They're a good staff, but they're not known for developing quarterbacks. But in a way, didn't he kind of just do that for the majority of this season in Pittsburgh? And then you turn around and you go to the Jets. Like, he would have been better off signing in Minnesota as the backup, to be honest, than going to the Jets. Yeah, the money would have been less, so that would have fit your bill. Like, swallow the pride, take less money, go be the backup to the rookie, because you're probably going to get playing time in Minnesota anyways because of that. Especially with him coming off the injury, you have pretty decent odds. But go do that, or go to Vegas, or go to, I don't know, the Chargers for a year, or you know what, go to freaking another team with a Keebler Elf. Go to Arizona and be the backup there for a year. But to go to the Jets might actually set Justin back.
I think it will.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Sarah, that was a really good point. That was a really good take.
And I think with the Steelers, like, I get that, like, dude, they're feeling if you don't think the Steelers are feeling the heat as a coaching staff, then why isn't Justin Fields in Pittsburgh? And why are they going after Aaron? Because they have a feeling with their fan base, they need to get to an AFC Championship game this year. No more one and done in the playoffs.
They just need to win any playoff game.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
Tomlin's out.
Yeah, even if it's just a wild card playoff win, I think that gives them gives Tomlin the extra grace of another year or two to see if, okay, it seems like we're finally starting to trend upward. Can we keep it going?
I mean, I was saying at the end of the last season, Tomlin's on the hot seat. And I was surprised in a way that I thought they were going to fire him after they lost the game, and there was talk, and then they didn't. But they're feeling the heat. That tells you a lot. Like, it's not. I don't think that they would have liked to have Justin back if they had time. They don't have time. That's why they're pursuing Rodgers so much, because they're like, we need to win a playoff game and win it now, and we don't have time to develop Justin more. We just got to go now. But at the same time, like, why don't you throw Justin a nice little bag to be the backup to Aaron Rodgers and the heir apparent? Because Rodgers isn't more than a 2-year fix at best. So give him like a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal as a backup, a good deal, like 10, 15 mil per, with some maybe incentives that can make it even more if he becomes a starter. But they didn't even do that. But again, because Justin wants to start, he got a mini bag to go to the Jets. But I think in the long term, that's going to hurt him, because the Jets suck. They don't develop anything at all in any position, it seems. Like, Justin would have been better served to go to Minneapolis or to go to Arizona, or even go to Miami and be the backup of Tua, where they play an offense that's more suited to you. You're going to get time with Tua. Tua's going to get hurt.
Yeah. Actually, saying that, I think Miami would be excellent for him with having 2 speed receivers. He can unleash that deep ball all he wants.
He gets paired up with an offensive-minded head coach.
Yep.
You know,
that can develop a quarterback with Dan Marino in there coaching him, because Dan Marino's in that room every day. So, I mean, that would have been a better situation, but he wanted to start. I get that. Players want to start. If you listen to Sarah, he might be in a better position going forward because, look, Tua is 1 hit away, right? If Justin's there improving his game as a backup with that situation, I mean, and look at, if he goes to Miami, steps into a couple games in Miami and wins a couple, that fan base would love Justin. That could have resurrected his career. Is Caleb Williams fast? I know Stevie asked that twice now. I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, I don't know because we never got a 40 time from him.
Yeah, and he really doesn't. He ran some last year. Yeah, he has solid speed. I mean, we saw some good speed out of it. It wasn't like, oh my God, like.
It wasn't like Lamar Jackson out there running the ball.
He wasn't trying to shed tackles like Lamar. Like when he ran, it was angled out of bounds, take the slide. He wasn't trying to break runs. He was just doing what he needed to do to get the first down or keep the chains moving. But the word on Caleb was that he could do it if wanted, and they just did it. And then once they fired Walder, they said, well, go be Superman, and they kind of took that restriction off. And then we saw him start to scramble a little bit more where you take off and run. I mean, I would say his speed average to maybe above average for a quarterback in this league, considering most quarterbacks are slow.
No, Caleb can move. I mean, Caleb, and that's one thing I really like about him is like he's very smart when he runs. Like he's not taking a hit; he's going to slide, and to have that ingrained in him already is excellent. Like he definitely has like the true quarterback mentality.
Yeah, I think Mike does a good. He's not a statue, right? And like Broski, he's got that quarterback mentality. Like the one thing Bears fans in general, whether we liked Caleb or not, the one thing that was refreshing is that when he was scrambling around the pocket, he didn't just tuck the ball and see what he could get. He continued to look downfield to make a play happen. And then sometimes he did it too long, especially early, and took sacks he maybe shouldn't have. But then we started to see by the end of the season, he was starting to learn, okay, I need to throw the ball away. If he continues that progression, there'll be a lot less frustration. Of course, the line should be better this year. But, I mean, that's what I like about Caleb. He's more Mahomes-like in that, if you want to make a comparison. Mahomes doesn't tuck the ball to run. He looks go downfield. But if it's 3rd and long and he sees he's got 15 yards of daylight, yeah, he'll take it if you give it to him. And Caleb is kind of the same way. So they're the kind of quarterback. And the great thing I like about Mahomes, and I think Caleb is starting to get in this category, is that these guys don't run. They don't tuck and run like Justin or Lamar. So defenses, what that does is it makes those big gaps for a guy like Mahomes to take off for a 15-yard run late in the game. Why? Because he's not known as a runner. And so he's got that available to him. And I think Caleb is going to have that available to him just like Mahomes does, because he's getting that rep of a guy who's not going to tuck and run. He's going to look to throw. And so when you get some of these coverages like Mahomes gets, Caleb will get, and he can take off for 15 yards and slide. And Mahomes does it. Allen does it. Like the good quarterbacks get that. And Caleb is kind of in that group in terms of having that 10, 15-yard run late in the game available to him, because he's not a running quarterback. He's a throwing quarterback. And that's what happens to throwing quarterbacks who are somewhat mobile. They get those. Now, why Goff can't take advantage of that? Good question. I don't know. Goff has limited success with that. But when do you see Goff take that 10-yard big hole and convert it? It's even rarer than Mahomes or Caleb or Allen. And that's the other reason with Goff I question whether he's a top 10 guy. To kind of go full circle.
Well, and look at it too, like all these young quarterbacks coming up, like just last year's class by itself. I mean, that's going to continue to push Goff down the list, honestly. Like I have him at 12 through 15 now. After this season, I mean, he might be fringe top 18, 20, like honestly. Bo Nix is going to be a good quarterback. Penix is going to be an amazing quarterback. Drake May is going to be sensational. What if J.J. McCarthy comes out and has like a C.J. Stroud first year? Like, it's Yeah.
Last year,
Like I said, most teams just have a window of 2 to 3 years to make a run. And that's about it. And we'll see what happens with the Detroit Cryans this year.
Like, I'll say this though, like Detroit, Green Bay, well, the division. The GMs, like we talked about, were very smart in the way they've layered their contracts and their cap. So I would say, Broski, that window for these 4 clubs is a little bit bigger than 3 years because the way they've structured their deals, if the players are playing to the capabilities that they were signed for, I think all 4 of these teams, their windows are more like 4 or 5 years because of the way they've layered the deals. So
go ahead, Ken. I'm sorry.
So if I get to the point where it's time for me to resign my receiver or running back, I still have the money to do it, especially if he's still able to play at that level. Kind of like look at what San Francisco did. But San Francisco's came to a loggerhead where somewhere in there maybe it was the CMC trade that did it, but it threw off their timing with their layering of contracts because San Francisco has been really good for more than 3 to 5 years, right, for the most part. So I think their layering got messed up. So the 4 teams in the North need to watch that. Like we can't, and that's why Goody is kind of resistant, I think, to make some of the splashier trades or stuff because it'll throw off his clock for the resigning to keep the window open.
My only thing is that when you see one of the guys isn't filling up to the bill, that's when you got to inject the talent from somewhere else. And hey, sometimes you got to sprinkle that cat magic on to make the shit work.
Well, and look at they did that running back, right? Because they brought in Josh Jacobs and got rid of Jones, and the money really didn't screw up their plan because it was tick for tack. But like you look at the Lions, and they had to spend. You're going to have to spend the money on the quarterback at some time. If Caleb keeps improving, you're already hearing $1 billion contract. In some of the clickbait, but I mean, and they had to spend the money they had to spend on Goff. But the problem is, like now you're at a point next year for the Lions where they're planning their window could shut out if they can't get a good restructure. Or if he's not performing and they have to start over. Who's faster, Love or Caleb?
I'd honestly put them somewhere around the same.
Probably.
I think Caleb's definitely faster than Love. But, I mean, Love is mobile, don't get me wrong.
Likewise, Nicholas. Yeah, I mean, the division, like the Niners didn't do it wrong. They just had a monkey wrench thrown in there somewhere. I don't know where that was, but
no, because they drafted Purdy the last pick of the draft, so they had all that money because he was basically worth nothing. They had all that money to build a roster, and so they did do a good job of going to the Super Bowl and being contenders. But now that Brock's contract is up, that's why they had to get rid of all these expensive guys, and now they're like back to like every other team that needs to pay a quarterback.
Well, actually, the CMC extension might be what broke it. If they didn't give CMC the bigger extension, like they put some money on some of their big guys they shouldn't have, like overpaid, and that threw off the everything else. Like if you look at Minnesota, they're sitting pretty with the money right now, where and the Bears are too. Like for at least the next 5, they got their core for 4 or 5 years locked up, and they should be able to replace what they need to replace or re-sign what they need to re-sign relatively easily. Like they're not going to have to do what San Francisco is doing. San Francisco started out right, but then they screwed up their money somewhere. They screwed up their money somewhere is what it is. But if you look at the NFC North in general, they're good. And look, I'm sorry, on my last bad take, because we're less than a minute, we have to say farewell for the day. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central, 11 on the East. Great discussion, great comments. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Everyone have a great day. And remember, Jordan Love is being traded by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Happy April Fool's Day.